it's great when they attack more. It's also great when they don't attack more, because the number one line here is, hey, we haven't gotten attacked since 9/11. There's only been one Pearl Harbor on our watch. So we're making great progress. But now in Iraq and Afghanistan, when they attack more and more, we're also making great progress there because they're attacking more. Which one is it?
Well, it's the same logic. I was going to say that we've heard from President Bush so often that we've now dismissed because it was one of the talking points that's failed. But there it is being used in Afghanistan, where it can be brought out freshly. In Iraq, a failed talking point was terrorist attacks are going up, shows they're desperate, which is which we heard again and again.
Seriously, you're a listener out there. You're a Republican, conservative. I don't care. Are you that stupid? I mean, seriously, are you that you don't have two brain cells you can rub together that you don't understand that terrorist strikes and bombings and civil war going progressively higher and higher and higher is not a good sign? It's not a sign that terrorists are desperate. It's a sign that terrorists are winning.
Yeah, I mean, winning, whatever, those are...
I don't care about the word winning, okay?
Right,
but as far as that's a good sign, come on. Who's that dumb?
No, there's no way you can make it a good sign. Bush said it all the time in Iraq. There was a period of about 6 months that every time there's a terrorist attack, shows they're desperate. Desperate. Don Rumsfeld would say it. Sign of desperation. Just Dick Cheney with the last dose. It is like a wife saying to her husband who serially cheats on her, yeah, but he's cheating. It shows that he's acting out, which is his realization that he's coming back to me, and he is in the last throes of infidelity.
That's because he had sex with 4 women last week as opposed to the 2 women from earlier.
If you had a friend, a woman, who was saying her husband is in the last throes of his infidelity, I mean, you would either tell her, oh, for the love of God, Gloria, you got to get out, or you would just pity her.
Yeah,
and there, by the way, are the 2 choices in Iraq. You can pity this administration, or you can urge them to get out of the relationship.
Well, the perfect example of that, Ben, is when General Pace later talking about the mosque bombings, he says, oh, no, all those mosque bombings where the Shiites and the Sunnis bombed each other's mosques over the last 2 weeks, that was actually also not covered effectively by the media. That was not the hundreds of mosque bombings that you saw. It was totally wrong. There was actually only about 30 mosque bombings. So you see how terrific that was? They only bombed each other's mosques 30 times. First of all, I don't believe him. Second of all, even if I did believe him, General Pace, I hate to break it to you, that is not a good sign. That's a disastrous sign that they pulverize each other's mosques, going to clearly lead to civil war. You say, hey, no, it was only 30 mosques, not hundreds.
I'm really surprised they haven't tried to isolate themselves now from Iraq and switch it away from the war on terror in Iraq to literally the war within Iraq that they aren't a part of, but it's just, what happens with democracy.
Democracy's messy.
No,
we had a civil war.
Messy. I mean,
they're going to say that's progress. I guarantee you, when the civil war breaks out, they're going to say, I think Ben might have made that joke earlier. Hey, it took us 150 years to get to civil war here in America. Man, they're quick. You see that? They're making great progress.
Because everything that they're saying right now leads me to believe that they're going to stay there. And I'm just so surprised that this government, this administration, wants to remain in Iraq. I would think they'd want to pull out as fast as they can. And they can spin it in a way where the public will buy it that they won the war on terror in Iraq. And now it's just the Iraqis fighting each other.
Joe, I'll tell you why. Because they're nuts. I'm telling you, Cheney and Rumsfeld, they believe that it is a success. I guess. I don't know what they think. Well, they're nuts. They think staying there is the right path, obviously.
Well, see, this is the only way you can ever compliment these guys. To Joe, I would say that's because they're not in this totally for political purposes. It's a statement that is sure to provoke the wrath of most people listening to this program, I suspect. Again, it goes back to they believe it. That doesn't excuse it in any way. It arguably makes it worse. At least if it was just craven politics, they believe it. It's one thing to have believed it in 2003 and to have manipulated the intelligence to get us to that point. To believe it now is just it is sheer it is dangerous idiocy. But nonetheless, they clearly believe it because, as Jill points out, politically it would seem to make sense. Like I thought it too. You remember, I kept thinking at any number of these elections they would say simply, "We did it. Democracy. It's going incredibly poorly." So they say democracy. That's it. We did it, and we leave. But they won't do it because they think it is the right thing to do.